welcome back.
I am back by popular demand. Oh, absolutely. And look, I just want to be very clear here. Sorry about that. There are times where briefings get delayed for reasons outside of our control, and we wanted to make sure you all had the opportunity to cover the president signing those bills for to support veterans, which is incredibly important, as you all know. And so taking your questions is very important to us, and which is why we do it almost every day and when we can, and it's why we strive to be responsive to your questions here in the briefing room, on TV, as I did this morning, and individual conversations with administration officials, and our team does this on a daily basis. So with that, I wanted to just come in and take additional questions for a few more minutes. I know a lot of you have deadlines yourselves and have to do evening TV, so won't be here for too long. But I did want to come out and take some questions. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm going to try and call on people I haven't called and start in the back. But there's like all these. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't think I've called on you yet.
Not lately, so thank you. Listen, Matthew McConaughey was banging on that podium just a few minutes ago before you left, and he had some specific policy asks, and a lot of them were, not all of them, but a lot were about guns. He wanted to raise the age from 18 to 21 for AR-15s. He talked about a waiting period for AR-15s, and he talked about red flag laws and background checks. So my question is, you and the president have made very generalized comments lately about doing something. Why won't he demand one of those things be in an overall package?
You're talking about the president. Why won't he demand?
I know he supports the policies, but
yeah.
Is his message to these negotiators that those gun measures need to be in the package?
His message to the negotiators is that we have to do something. His message is to the American people, we have to do something. He went to Uvalde, as you know, he went to Buffalo, and when he was in Uvalde, and I was there with him, and some of you were there with him as well. The two words that he heard over and over again is do something. And so he is very encouraged by the engagement that he's seeing on the Senate side with the bipartisan group, and he wants to give them the space. We're not going to negotiate from here on what should be in the package, what should not be in the package, but we believe it's a step forward. The president's going to continue to call for and fight for all of the comprehensive components to prevent gun violence that he talked about on Thursday. That will not stop. He's going to continue to do that, but we're just not going to negotiate from here.
John Cornyn, in his public comments, was talking today on the Senate floor about really hardening doors at schools and these sort of items. If the package only has that and not one of these specific gun measures, will it be a success?
Again, I'm not going to negotiate from here. We're going to give them some space. It's a bipartisan conversation that's happening. It's going to be a bipartisan agreement. We see, or we feel, and Senator Murphy is very optimistic, and he has said this is the most optimistic that he has been in some time. He came in, as you know, and gave an update to the president. So we're going to see how this conversation continues to go.
Karine. Thank you, Karine. Why do you think it is that 83% of people polled by the Wall Street Journal say the economy is poor or not so good?
So when it comes to consumer confidence, is what you're talking about there, we know that can reflect concern and uncertainty about higher prices. People feel the effect of high prices when they go to the grocery store and they fill up their gas tank, which the president understands very personally when he was growing up, and understanding how when prices elevate even just a bit, how much that can hurt a family, how much that can really affect someone's household. But the fact is, we are in a fundamentally different place compared to when the president took office and compared to this time a year ago. And so, during this presidency, people felt uncertain about the economy generally, but they actually felt as good about their personal financial situation as they ever have, according to the Federal Reserve survey, with nearly 80% of adults reporting that they are financially comfortable. So that matters as well.
But to the point about, you're saying that people feel good about their personal financial situation. High gas prices, people can't get baby formula, the supply chain is messed up. everything is more expensive. Where's the good part?
So the survey that I just read off started in 2013, and that is the first time that we saw numbers like this since 2013. So that does mean something. Just like you gave me 83%.
I understand that.
I'm giving you
newer than 2013. 61% are saying now in this Wall Street Journal poll they are generally pessimistic about people having an opportunity to achieve the American dream. How's that going to look on a bumper sticker?
I guess what I'm trying to say, Peter, is that we understand that people are feeling this. They are feeling the increase of prices, which with food in particular right now, and gas. That is something that we understand. What I'm trying to say to you is that the economy is in a better place than it has been historically. And so we feel here at this administration, and other experts as well, is that we feel that we are in a good position to take on inflation. We are in a good position to really start really working on lowering prices. We leave that piece to the Federal Reserve. They have the monetary policies to deal with to have the best tools to make sure that we bring down inflation. That's the pain that the American family is feeling. And so that's what we're saying. What we're saying is that we were in a different place a year ago, and now we are in a much better place economically, but there's still work to do, and we understand that.
Okay, and then just quickly on gas prices, the Energy Secretary Granholm is saying, oh, well, if you went to Canada, you'd be paying $6.25 a gallon. If you went to Germany, you'd be paying over $8.80. In the UK, it's almost $8 a gallon. What kind of an argument is that?
What she's trying to say, and what we have all been trying to say, is this is a global challenge. This is not just in the United States that people are feeling inflation or people are seeing elevated gas prices.
And isn't it
this
the President's job to protect Americans from global challenges?
He's doing his part in trying to make sure that the American people feel the impact less. But here's the thing, and we've talked about this, since Russia invaded Ukraine, we have seen gas prices, these are the facts, go up by $1.51. We have seen food prices go up because of what Ukraine and Russia represent when it comes to wheat and corn. This is just a fact. This is what we have seen for the past several months. The president has done, he's tapped into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in a historic way with a million barrels of oil a month for 6 months. We have made the announcement of the E15, the homegrown biofuels that is going to help families in the Midwest. So we know there is more to do. We're not disagreeing here. We know that there is more to do, and we're going to continue to do the work.
Does the president have any plans to invite any Republican senators to the White House before he leaves for Los Angeles?
I don't have any meetings to preview for you.
Has he spoken to any Republicans as it comes to gun legislation?
I don't have any meetings or calls to read out. Okay. Go ahead.
Karine, thank you. I know you don't want to negotiate from the podium. I just want to try one more time. It seems as though talks are coalescing around more funding for mental health, school safety, and then expanded background checks and encouraging states to adapt red flag laws. Is that the type of compromise legislation the president would sign? Would he sign that?
Again, I'm not going to negotiate from here. I'm not going to talk through the contours of the plan. They're still having those conversations on the other side of the hill. But I can say, let me finish. I'll get to, hopefully this will answer it, which is he supports red flag laws. That is something that he has supported for some time. He even talked about the red flag law that is in Delaware is named after his son, Bo Biden, who was, as you know, the Attorney General in Delaware. He has talked about expanding background checks. I have talked about it. He has talked about it. We've all talked about it. So clearly, those are two things that we know are popular. The red flag law. I read a poll here yesterday that has 72% for the red flag laws. We know that expanding background check is overwhelmingly popular as well. So clearly, those are two things that he supports. But we do not want to give them some space, don't want to get in the middle of their negotiations.
Sort of what I'm asking, Karine, is particularly as it relates to the red flag laws, what it seems to be coalescing around is a deal that would encourage states to adapt red flag laws. Is that good enough for President Biden?
I think it's a step. When red flag laws are actually enacted, it saves lives. We have seen that in Florida. We've seen that in other states across the country. In California, there's been cases where the red flag law has actually saved lives. And we understand not every component of what the president is calling for is going to stop every tragedy. But we have to take the steps. We have to move forward. We have to do something.
There's been so much focus on the legislation. Is President Biden considering any new executive actions on?
You know, the president said this himself. If there is any way or any other new actions that he can take, he will. His team
Considering anything?
There's nothing that I can preview for you at this time. I know the team is looking at that. We just don't have anything for you to share at this time.
Let me ask you on Roe v. Wade, if I might. We are anticipating the Supreme Court will render its final decision on Roe v. Wade, and based on, of course, that leaked draft report, it appears as though the court is poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. What, if any, groundwork is this administration laying to ensure that women who want or need abortions can still have access to them?
Look, protecting the constitutional rights of Americans afforded by Roe for nearly 50 years, ensuring that women can make their own choices about their lives and bodies and families is something that the president and the vice president support. We've taken actions over the past year and a half on making sure that women have the protection that they need, issuing a presidential memorandum to protect and expand access to comprehensive reproductive health care, and to revoke the Mexico City policy of global gag rule that prohibits federal funding for organizations that provide abortion counseling or referrals, issuing a final rule to strengthen the Title X family planning program, fulfilling the administration's commitment to restore access to equitable, affordable, client-centered, quality family planning services. So we have done an array of things over the past year and a half to give the protection that women need. Obviously, the decision, it was a draft decision. We don't want to get into hypotheticals, and we don't want to get ahead of what is actually going to come forth, but it's something that it concerns us. All of the pieces of legislation that we see coming out of the states that are incredibly radical, we've called them that, and it does give us concern.
Are there any tangible actions that the administration will take if it's overturned on that day or that week to ensure that women who need abortions can have access to them, or that they can cross state lines to access an abortion?
One thing that I can say, I don't have anything to preview or to announce or to lay out at this time. What I can say is that our team here, the Gender Policy Council, the Domestic Policy Council, and the agencies who are involved, like HHS, have been in constant communication with groups on what we can do from here. I just don't have anything to preview. Go ahead,
Karine, the January 6th committee is going to hold its first public hearing on Thursday while the president's in California. Do you expect the president to get briefed on what the committee has found in its investigation, if he hasn't already? And how is he looking at these hearings? Does he see this as something that will move the needle in how the public perceives what happened on that day?
So as you know, we're leaving, as you were kind of alluding to, tomorrow. We're going to go to LA. The president's going to have a very busy week. You know, of course, he will be keeping up on the committee's work, as he has been, and I'm sure he'll be following the news from the hearing as well. I don't have anything else in particular to share here. The president has been consistent, voicing his support for the vital work of the bipartisan January 6th Select Committee, and he and his team have said many times it is critical that we have a full investigation into the events of January 6th to ensure something like what we saw that day can never happen again, and the work of this committee is crucial to that effort, and we will continue to speak out as appropriate or to defend our democracy and the rule of law, and to support those who are doing work to protect our democracy.
Just one more. Senator Romney and Senator Ossoff have asked for a full investigation into the death of Shireen Abu Akleh. She was a Palestinian-American journalist with Al Jazeera. She was killed last month while reporting in the West Bank. Will the White House be supporting an investigation into her death?
So we're in close touch with both Israeli and Palestinian authorities. The United States is not currently conducting an official investigation, as you know. We are working to bridge cooperation between the two parties. We have made clear our view to both Israeli and Palestinian officials, the administration's call for thorough, transparent, and impartial investigation of her killing. We expect full accountability for those responsible. We have also urged that both sides share their evidence with each other. We continue to call on all sides to maintain calm and avoid any further escalation.
Great. Thanks so much. Secretary Yellen said over the weekend to CNN that she was wrong in predicting that inflation was transitory, and shortly afterward, Treasury walked back the statement. I'm just curious if the White House or any senior aides here were involved in walking back those comments.
What I can tell you is that she was, even when you look at the transcript, she was clear on exactly what she meant by that, and the secretary, spoke to this herself to clarify her remarks. And it's true that nobody at the time foresaw the extent of the global challenges that have caused record inflation all around the world. In fact, even Wall Street and the private sector broadly thought that inflation would come down faster than it has. I cannot speak to private conversation, but all I can say is she put out a statement clarifying what she said.
And just one more question. On Friday, senior White House staff met with members of the Congressional Black Caucus to talk about some of the president's ideas for forgiving student debt. I'm wondering what was the purpose of that meeting as the president considers it, and was there any outcome from it?
I don't have any readout from that meeting from Friday night.
Great. Thank you. Based on what you know about the situation in both Uvalde and Buffalo, is there anything that the Senate negotiators are considering now that would have stopped those two shootings? Or either one of them?
I'm no expert here, but one thing that I do know that we all know is that both the shooters were 18. And one of the things that's on the table is raising the age limit.
Are you sure that's on the table?
I'm so sorry.
From 18 to 21 to buy AR-15s? Because John Cornyn has...
Okay, I'm just saying it's been discussed.
I don't... Okay. If that was on the table, that would have affected these. Okay. But
you're asking me a question about what I think may have helped or stopped this awful strategy.
But in terms of what's on the table in the Senate.
I'm just saying that's been one of the conversations that's been out there. I do not know. Again, we're not negotiating from here. I'm just trying to make a point. This is something that the president supports, raising the age from 18 to 21, because one of the things that we do know is both of the shooters were 18 years old. The one in Uvalde in particular, when he was 17, he asked his sister to buy him a gun. She said no, and as soon as he turned 18, he went and bought a gun. And so that is something that we have heard about, that's out there. That is something the president talked about on Thursday. And so I was just speaking to your question on what potentially could have helped.
Well, I'm actually asking what among the things the senators are considering could have prevented.
And again,
this.
I'm not going to negotiate from here. I'm just trying to help in a way to show, hey, this is something that we know is out there. This is something that the president talked about. I'm not going to negotiate from here. They're working through the contours of the plan, and we're going to let them figure that out.
Can I just ask one quick one on red flag laws? So does the president prefer a federal red flag law, or does he think it's better on a state-by-state level, and the government or the federal government should incentivize states instead?
Well, he supports I want to be really careful here, because we're not going to negotiate from here, right? We are going to we're going to give them the space to come up with the contours of the deal, and we're just going to give them that space. What we're saying is we support the red flag law. The president has talked about it. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of what that looks like. We're going to let the negotiators figure that out.
Thanks, Karine.
First, or two questions. First, can you commit that going forward, if there's a guest or a celebrity here, that you would ensure that they would stay at the podium and take questions from reporters after they speak?
That they're a guest. That is not for me to ensure.
Try to have them stay and take questions.
Karen, they're a guest of ours. It is up to them if they want to take questions or not. We respect them and what they want to do. Matthew was here, and when he was done, he said thank you, and he walked away. That really is up to him.
And on COVID, last week, a guest, Dr. Jha was here, but he did take
Well, that's a little
questions.
different. He works here. Yes.
But he said that what keeps him awake at night is that the U.S. will run out of vaccines, not have enough of the next generation of vaccines, run out of treatments and tests in the fall. This is something he has been saying a lot in interviews recently. But can you give us an update on where the COVID funding talks stand on the Hill in terms of what the White House is doing right now? What officials are meeting with lawmakers up there? Has there been any progress? Has the president talked with lawmakers about this? And is this getting overshadowed with the conversations that are happening right now on the gun talks?
It's a very good question. Look, just to kind of reiterate a little bit of what Dr. Jha has said is without additional funding, we are unable to purchase life-saving treatments for the American people, including our most vulnerable. We've already cut down on our purchase of treatments for high-risk Americans. Imagine a 13-year-old with a heart condition who may not be able to access preventive treatment to stay safe from a life-threatening illness. We're losing our spot in line while other countries are moving forward and buying next-generation vaccines for all Americans that may be needed in the fall and winter. So I think that's what he's talking about when he says he's losing sleep. When we think about the path forward and how we're going to get to where we need to be, we're working closely with members of Congress on a bipartisan basis to drive a path forward on COVID funding, and the president is committed to getting it done. And so Dr. Jha and OMB director have been on the Hill having those meetings. So the president deals with multiple things at a time. So this is still very much a priority. So we will continue doing our part to protect the American people. We will use the few funds we have remaining to continue getting testing, treatments, and vaccine out to Americans for as long as we can. We will continue to work the phones, hold briefings, and make our case publicly and privately with lawmakers, imploring Congress to act immediately to act on our long overdue COVID needs. And at the end of the day, it's Republicans in Congress. They need to act. They have to answer to the American people if they can't get the vaccine, treatments, and tests that we will need come fall. So, we're going to continue doing the work. The work doesn't stop.
Karine?
Oh my gosh.
Back here.
Yeah,
SV?
thank you.
Yep.
Following up on the January 6th question,
Yeah.
there have been Republicans, prominent Republicans, as well as outside groups who are already making a concerted effort to downplay the entire thing before a single word has been said about in the hearings. Has the president, what are his thoughts about that? And has it made any efforts to reach out to Kevin McCarthy, to Mitch McConnell about, hey, this is important, we ought to be on the same page with this?
So the president has been really clear, right? He supports the bipartisan effort, the January 6th Select Committee bipartisan effort, but we're not going to get involved. That is something that is independent and needs to stay independent. It is important to protect our democracy. That is something that the president, what happened on January 6th was a very dark day in our democracy. And so we have to continue to find ways to protect it. So he supports what they're doing. We're not going to get involved. It's an independent committee.
Karine, back here.
Yeah, so you said that we're in a stable economic, or we're transitioning to a stable economic growth. The Treasury Secretary also testified today we're going to a stable economic growth. What exactly is a stable economic growth?
I think the way that we're looking at it is just the data, just what we have seen in this past year. I think people forget what the president inherited when he walked in. You had 20 million people who were collecting unemployment benefits. You had unemployment was at more than 6%, and the work that he did with the American Rescue Plan, getting that done, and Democrats, only Democrats voting for it, helped get the economy moving, helped get the economy growing. And so the way we see it is that we are in a strong place. The U.S. economy may grow faster this year than China's economy for the first time since 1976. With the right policies, we are confident that the U.S. can transition from recovery to stable, steady growth and bring down inflation without giving all of these historic gains that I just laid out. 8.7 million new jobs in this past year and a half. And so one of the things that we have been very clear about is giving the Federal Reserve the independence to deal with inflation, and they are committed to it. We are committed to it, and they have the strongest tools to come up with monetary policy to get that done.
Is that GDP growth like under the Obama administration, 1.5%, 1.8% for the year?
I mean, I'm not going to get into like the specifics of GDP growth, but what I can say is the numbers, the data that we have seen just on job growth, for 390,000 jobs in the month of May. What we have seen is historic numbers. We are in a historic place in history, historic place right now as we look at where we are with the economy. Very, very different than where we were a year ago. And that is because of what the president has been able to do with a comprehensive plan to get people vaccinated, with a plan to get people back to work. Remember, and I know some of you know this, schools were closed when he entered the administration. Businesses were closed when he entered the administration. The economy was in crisis. We are in a different place. That's how we see this.
Real quick, when are we in recession then? Because the Atlanta Fed GDP now looks at a snapshot. It's 0.9%. It's gone down from 1.9 to 1.3 for the second quarter. 2 quarters in a row of negative growth is a recession. So are we there, and how close?
Look, the way that we see it is we have the right tools, and we are in a strong place to continue to be in this transition where we have stable growth, and that is what's important. And so that's going to be our focus.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. I do have to go. I really do have to go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Thank you.